So my character on the show suffers from prosopagnosia, face blindness. So,
and everybody would just think he was being rude.
Yeah, totally.
But he wasn't.
But it forces him to look deeper into the people that he's encountering, right? He has to look at them from different perspectives and different
angles. Like what they're wearing.
Yeah, what you're wearing, how your voice sounds, how you smell, how your hairline is, how your ears are, you know. What?
Nothing. It's just the things you picked out made me feel weird. Please welcome to the stage the first brilliant mind to grace the stage. These are so mean to me. Come on, these intros are... Either way, give it up for the luminous Zachary Quinto. Come on out. Hi,
what's happening?
It's just a mess.
Sit here.
Yeah, sit here.
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. Yes! That's what I want to hear.
What was your favorite part of the debate?
My favorite part of the debate was when it was over. I just cannot believe that this is the discourse that we are putting forth as the level of presidential politics in this country. It is absolutely staggering to me.
Yeah, it is,
this
isn't
is
it?
where we've arrived.
It's wild.
So quickly.
It's crazy.
In our lifetime.
I know.
I have nothing but admiration and respect for Kamala Harris, and I think she's been doing a fantastic job. But I don't know. I just feel really like we're talking about other things than politics, actually, in this time.
I think we are, too. I remember after the first presidential debate, you know, that last one, and we all remember it. And there were people that actually, Reagan did quite badly in his first presidential debate in 1984. And I was like, oh, I'm going to take this at face value, and I'll go back and check out this debate in 1984. It is Socrates and Plato.
Truly.
It is. He's talking about the budget and the complexities of budget.
We've jumped the tracks, I think. And the reality is, as far as I'm concerned, that this is not a referendum on policies or positions. It's actually a referendum on consciousness. And what we're seeing in the world right now, as far as I can tell, is that there are these unprecedented seismic shifts on a civilizational level. And these constructs that we've built for ourselves, the binary way of looking at things, they don't work anymore. They just don't work anymore. And so how do we have the conversation about where we go from here? And there was really none of that substance in the debate. It was really, to me, again, it was just a facade of something, actually. And that was concerning.
You play a doctor.
I do.
In this NBC drama called Brilliant Minds,
yeah,
about Dr. Olver Sacks, which I was really excited about because I think Olver Sacks is such a cool figure. One thought, some actors can play a doctor, some simply cannot. I know you can.
I appreciate that, John. Thank you so much.
And it's not a smart, dumb thing. There's doctor, not doctor. Do you know what I'm saying?
I will say, to actually be in a position where I can say I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV, it's kind of cool. It's actually really special to me, and I can say it earnestly and with authenticity now.
That's so cool. Mm-hmm. Do people know about Olver Sacks? So Olver Sacks.
Do we know Olver Sacks? Everybody? Yeah.
A neurologist. He wrote.
The man who mistook his wife for a hat.
The man who mistook his wife for a hat.
Yeah. Anthropologist on Mars. Hallucinations.
And if you haven't read the books, the movie The Awakenings. Awakenings, not the Simply Awakenings, and we all know that, with Robin Williams and Robert De Niro.
Yeah, directed by Penny Marshall.
A
fantastic movie.
Fantastic movie. Based on Olver Sacks.
Yeah. Olver Sacks was a world-renowned, iconic neurologist. He was also considered by the New York Times the poet laureate of medicine. He was someone who was inspired and driven by the idea of finding dignity in his patients. And he would often say, ask not what disease the patient has, ask what patient the disease has. Where is the person? And, we're a medical show that's dramatizing neurological disorders. So, you think about all of these amazing medical shows that have come before us. And oftentimes people come in with a gunshot wound or an illness or an injury or a disease that has to be cured. And in our show, oftentimes there is no fix. There is no cure. There is no returning to normal. And so how do we adapt? How do we evolve? And you know, we're dealing with the brain, which is the seat of consciousness, right? And so there is a limitlessness to that. And there is, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I read scripts early in the season where I was like, well, that's fucking not real. And it's absolutely real. You know, the things that the brain can do and the ways in which the brain can turn on itself and, you know, change and present adversities that you'd never imagine. It's really spectacular. The other thing about this show, like, it's based on Olver Sacks, but it's a fictional character, right? So I play this character. All of the attributes and aspects of the character I play are lifted from the life of Olver Sacks himself, but yet it exists in a contemporary world and is a fictional character. So there's this hybrid where I get all of the benefit of the source material, the books that he wrote. He wrote incredible articles. He wrote a beautiful memoir called On the Move. He did podcasts and TED Talks. He wrote an incredible book called On the River of Consciousness, which is really examining all of the people in history who tried to understand the brain and tried to understand consciousness. And he sort of went through in a chronological way and examined them himself. And you know, in the 19th and 20th centuries, case studies were the ways in which doctors learned how to treat patients, right? Because before medicine became diagnostic, before you could slide into an MRI machine and know exactly what was wrong with you, the only way you could really learn was through experience. So doctors would write case studies, very detailed, very intricate case studies about their patients, what they were like before they were ill, what they were like when they were ill, and how they, you know, dealt with the illness. And that art form really atrophied once medicine became primarily diagnostic. And Olver Sacks was in love with that form of exploration of his patients. And so he was really driven by that as well. So it's this amalgam of, you know, really looking for the person and the dignity and finding who they are in the face of what they're up against, and also then articulating it and putting it into language and using language in a way that is really spectacular and beautiful.
Nice.
I mean, clap for him.
Clap for Olver Sacks.
I only regret I never got to meet him, you know? He died in 2015 at the age of 83.
He was celibate for 35 years.
35 years.
I think that's a weird length of time to be celibate.
It's an odd length of time to be celibate.
It's such a long time, you know?
Well, he was a product of his generation, you know? I mean...
he was gay.
He was gay, yes, he was gay. He had a very complicated relationship with his mother. Both of his parents were doctors. He felt really, I think, beholden to their expectations of him. And I think in many ways he put his patients before himself. And so it wasn't until later in his life. He ended up having a very substantive and fulfilling relationship later in his life, which I think is incredibly beautiful, which he writes about in his book. There's an incredible documentary about Olver Sacks, which I encourage everybody to watch. He was a fascinating man. And so to be able to play this role and to do it in a world where we get to imagine what would it have been like if Olver Sacks had been born at a different time and lived in a different world. And yes?
Do you think deja vu is... Are
you having it right now?
No. But sometimes you have it and you're like, I'm still having it. I'm about to have something happen that I will have felt like I remember.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think that is?
I mean, that's the brain, man.
That's the brain. Now
it's like an endless... It's like there is no end to the depth of the waters of the brain.
I also like that every generation uses their most up-to-date technology as an analogy for the brain. So it was aqueducts, then it was circuits, and now we're at computers. We're like, no, it's a computer. It's like, maybe it's the next fucking thing.
Totally.
You know?
Yep.
So you mentioned that you were reading about Olver Sacks and you didn't know what was real and what was not, which is why we're going to play a game called Dr. Quinto Medicine Gay Man. And the question will be, is this a real Olver Sacks case or a fake Olver Sacks case? A man who reported hearing faint music whenever he was exposed to direct sunlight, included but not limited to Imagine Dragons' 2012 hit Radioactive.
Not a real case.
That's fake, yeah. A woman who saw the faces of those around her mutate and in her imagination become dragons.
Real case.
Real case. A year before Olver Sacks' death in 2015, he co-authored a case study about a Dutch woman who would see human faces morph into dragon faces, which grew long, pointy ears and a protruded snout, a reptiloid skin, and huge eyes in bright yellow, green, blue, and red. cool.
We have a version of that story on our show. Not exactly that story, but a version of it.
What do they become? You know what? Don't tell us. A man who was fun and flirty to strangers, but a complete bitch to his loved ones following brain surgery.
Real case.
That's real.
Yeah.
A man who mistook a fire hydrant for some kid.
Real case.
Yes, this comes from the same man who mistook his wife for a hat from the 1998 book. In addition to the wife hat confusion, the man referred to as Dr. P would often confuse objects and people, called visual agnosia.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have that on the show too.
That's good. That's a good one to do.
Yeah, it's a good one to do.
It's one of the big ones.
Sweet kid. I really like the actor that played the fire hydrant. She was really good. She's really good.
A woman who hallucinated a blue humanoid creature that spoke to her in gibberish.
Real case.
No,
fake case.
it's
Fucking fake case. That's
it's
a
from
fake
30
case,
Rock.
guys. Just kidding. It's fake.
It's Rachel Dratch playing the humanoid. A man whose memory goes out every 30 seconds.
Real case.
That's real. It's called. He wrote about the poor bastard in his 2007 book, Musicophilia. He was a conductor who recalled his wife in music but could not form new memories after contracting encephalitis.
Yep. There's also like the idea, there's people that, for whom all music sounds like rattling glass and nail. Like no matter what you're listening to, it's just like you could be listening to Beethoven or Bach, but your brain processes it and you cannot, like, imagine being in an elevator and it's like some soothing, Kenny G version of like whatever. And it's, that's how people hear any kind of music. Musicophilia is a really good one. Musicophilia is a really good Olver Sacks. And he gives a really good lecture about, and when he released Musicophilia, he gave a really beautiful speech. You can look it up on YouTube. Look him up. If you don't know him, he is just a delight. And he also, he suffered from prosopagnosia, which is face blindness.
Yes.
So my character on the show suffers from prosopagnosia, face blindness. So the idea that I would see you, there's John. Hey, John, good to see you. Nice to meet you. We met tonight. I haven't met him before. And then I see you 2 days from now in the grocery store, and you come up and say, hey, it was so good to see you. And I'm like, I have no idea who you are because I cannot recognize this.
And everybody would just think he was being rude.
Yeah, totally.
But he wasn't.
But it forces him to look deeper into the people that he's encountering, right? He has to look at them from different perspectives and different angles.
Like what they're wearing.
Yeah, what you're wearing, how your voice sounds, how you smell, how your hairline is, how your ears are, What?
Nothing. It's just the things you picked out made me feel weird.
You smell good.
One thing, great. From that conductor who couldn't form new memories. I actually saw a documentary based on the Olver Sacks book, and one thing that is deeply, it makes you really kind of upset and uncomfortable is he had this journal that he would keep. And in the journal, he would write, I am now completely awake. This time it's real. This is the real me. I am finally at long last awake. And then he would cross out having written it the day before and the hour before and the time before that because his consciousness felt completely new to him. And because he had no memory of the consciousness from the previous hour or day, it seemed like he just became alive again. And I think déjà vu is just the feeling of a recollection without the substance of a memory, or maybe it's the deeper structure of the universe.
Right? It could be any or all of that stuff.
Wow.
Oh.
And you know what that sound means? It's time for a lightning round game we call Would You Fuck This Doctor?
What is that? Who is that with me? On the right.
It's me.
Oh,
I
it's
think.
you and me.
It's me. We're the
you're
doctor.
beautiful with long raven locks.
Thank you. Here's how it works. We're going to ask you about a fictional doctor. You have to say if you'd fuck them. It's an objective quiz. There is a right and there is a wrong. First up, cartoon Dr. Egon Spengler, the cartoon version of the Ghostbusters character. He has a PhD in a number of fields, including parapsychology and nuclear engineering, as well as the most magnificent head of hair we've ever seen. There he is. He's there on the screen. In the cartoon, he was blonde.
I did fuck him.
Yeah, that's right. That's correct.
Not would I did.
Oh, you and Spengler. I can see that. You make sense to me. Dr. Leo Spaceman from 30 Rock is played by Chris Purnell.
Only if he wears that coat while we do it.
Yeah, it's a no. It's too much chaos. It's like you can't have that drama around you. Next up, Dr. Gregory House from the Procedural House.
No.
It's a no. It's a no.
I love you, Lori, but...
That's incorrect. I'm sorry, but that's wrong.
Fair, bro. Fair.
And finally, the late, great Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, baby.
Wow, all right. All right, taking your life in your hands, but I get it. I get it. And that's correct. Thank you, Zachary Quinto. That was good. That was good.